Hello, hello. So I'm making this video today for myself, for my benefit, and if anybody likes this sort of thing, welcome to it. I'm making it primarily so that I don't explode because I'm going through some emotions, and I thought just making a video about it could help me process them, so that because they're like staying in my chest. So there's something that I really need to share with another person, but the time is just not right for it. We might have like a meeting a few weeks from now, and I'm having a hard time being patient. It just doesn't feel like this just saying all of it. Like I just have a lot that I want to say to him. So I made kind of two videos previously about soul contracts and the soul's journey and how it's been affecting me. So in those videos I shared, like there was a man many years ago that I lived in the same neighborhood in, and we kept bumping into each other, like all over the place. And it was clear that there was like this energy, but we never, um, you know, but it was just like such funny things, and we did kind of learn each other's name. But he was with someone, so I was like, I'm not even gonna try pursuing. Like, I don't want to have anything to do with this. But the energy was there. So the whole time, like, they brought up a lot of emotion. Like, it just triggered so many emotions. And I started writing poetry, and the first poem I wrote was about him. It triggered that, and then since then I wrote like 90 poems or so. It was just like so emotional, but I never shared it with him. I never did anything. Then I moved out of the neighborhood, and a few years passed, and I started learning. I connected to the higher power. I started learning how to channel, and learning like how to detect messages from the higher self, from God, however you want to phrase it. And I think it was like the summer when I was 26 or 27, I get a message, like an email from an astrologer that I don't subscribe to. And she's like, I have your full year's report. And something pulled me to click and make a purchase, for that report. And I didn't even read the whole report. It was like the first few lines said, somebody from your past would come into your life. And right away, his name came into my mind. And I already forgot about him. I moved out of the neighborhood, didn't think about him anymore. Oh, the person that taught me how to channel, I asked him about this guy, and he said that this guy is in a relationship. It's like he's not in love necessarily, but he is having a hard time leaving her. And that's why I was sort of put on his path to get him away from, not necessarily to be with me, but just like trigger him enough to get away, for them to separate. Okay. And I felt like that message when I opened the report, like his name popped in my head. Just felt like a energy right now. I felt like it was the higher power telling me to do something. And then through the channels, I was asking questions, and they're like, well, if you want, you know how they are. They're like, we have our soul's journey, but we also have free will. So it's like, yes, it's in the soul contract, but you still have free will. So it's like, if you want. But it's like, I don't really have a choice at this point. He's like on my mind now. Thanks. So I went to that area. He was still living there. I positioned myself 3 times. The first time my car was too far. I saw him like right when I parked the car. They were telling me he's coming, but he was too far, so I didn't go for it. And then the second time, he literally, it was like the moment I arrived in the area, parked the car, he came out of his building. I saw him walking across the street. We kind of nodded. Oh no, like actually we crossed paths. Dad, like oh hi, and then I was across the street. He walked by, looking at me. But my ex-boyfriend's parents also lived in the same street, and they came out like, what the fuck are you doing here? And so they were talking to me. I didn't want to talk to them, but they were talking to me, and I was like, just being nice, and I missed the opportunity to interact with him. So I was like, for the third time, let's do this. Park the car. He came out very quickly, and his car was literally parked 2 cars ahead. Like it was another car and then his car. I didn't know what car he was driving, so you know, when something's meant to be, right? So I was like, okay, this is it. So I literally pretended like, oh, I saw him, so I drove out with my car and I blocked him before he could he went to like get something from the car. And then I was like, oh hey, how you doing? Kind of thing. And then I asked him like, do you want my phone number? And he said, I do, but I have a girlfriend. So it's like he's giving me a choice, like, yes, I have a girlfriend if you're willing to cheat. I drove away. It's like, I don't want this. Because like from the channels, it was like, they're telling me that he's available, right? That's what it means. He finally left her. I wasn't sure. So I forgot about him. Fast forward to this fall. Other events happened. And then he popped up on my Facebook feed for the first time ever. And so I pursued it. I was like, because certain events happen. So I'm like, this is happening in a pattern. So it's like, this is, telling me something. Like, I don't know if he's available or like, what does all this mean? He's definitely not available. He's married with kids. I think it's a different person though, different woman. So the energy triggered so much. So I started seeing the past life that he's connected to. Like he's connected to more than one. I see that we're kind of a soul family. So I know that I do kind of sense him in another past life, but he doesn't have that. Doesn't have like an important role for that one, like that caused the biggest harm that I need to clear. But in one particular past life, he was the cause of my death, to my drowning. And the connection that I'm drawing is that because I have aquaphobia, and feel like that's the past life. I think there's more to it, like I'll get to it. But yeah, the emotions, like I see the path, I see it. I see that memory. So some of you kind of heard, the war that happened, the Orion, Lyrian, whatever it's called. I was at the time, my the constellation of Canis, not Canis, what is it? Anyway, of Sirius A, where the star Sirius A, Sirius B, and then where Sirius B is, there's a triangle. that's where, in that area somewhere, that's where the planet that I was on. He was one of the reptilians. I see him like this large figure, reptilian-like, ruthless. He was leading the charge, leading the attack. And I was, it was like we were a Navy or something, like a Navy ship. A lot of men, a lot of troops, whatever you call it. And I was like the captain, the leader, the one in charge. I don't know if they're called captains or whatever. And the attack came kind of like it was a surprise attack, very like Pearl Harbor type. Very calculated, very ruthless and cold. Everybody drowned. And wow, coming up. Yeah, so all these memories started surfacing when he popped up, and I started kind of interacting with him online. And then I kind of told him partially what's going on. I didn't tell him everything. And I stopped messaging him. Like I told him, like, you know, he said he has a lot on his plate right now. So maybe at some point later we'll connect, we'll meet up or something. And I, you know, it's his right. So I let it go and I stayed with it like 2 months. It took to clear a lot of that energy. It felt like acid was going through my abdomen constantly. And then like about a month ago, another person came up on my Facebook, not my Facebook, YouTube. Now I already kind of mentioned Jason Shirka, my videos, my connection to him, to that Egypt memory. Now he was interviewing with Aaron Apka, I think that's how you say his name. And usually I don't see Jason anymore, like pop up on social media unless the higher self wants me to see something. So I went to that video and I was feeling the energy, and the energy was coming more from Aaron. I haven't seen Aaron ever before. I didn't know who he was. And then I quickly went on a website. This was like Friday night. So I'm like, okay, what am I being told here? Friday night, I'm exhausted after work. So I went to his website. Like, again, I haven't seen any, like, I don't know what he did. Like, I barely watched the interview. I just felt the energy. There's a form on his website that you can sign up for a free consultation, either with him or somebody from his team. And I started seeing like arrows, do it, do it, do it. Like, okay, so I signed up on this call for the next day, and it wasn't Aaron, it was somebody else. Told me about the workshop that he has. I'm like, I'm not really interested in this workshop. It just doesn't sound like right for me. I just want to connect with Aaron. So like Aaron doesn't meet with anybody anymore. So I stayed like just listening to his videos on YouTube, and the more memories came up, connection to that past life. And Aaron was like my second in command. That's what I saw. And what I saw was we were like on the, I guess it's called the bridge, right, where they stand. And we just looked at each other when the attack came. All I can see is eyes just looking at each other, and I felt the emotions, like, you know, like when two people like feeling the same thing, and it was like the same thing. It was like, we're fucked. We knew we were fucked. We knew we are going to die, and there's nothing we can do. Like this attack came out of like huge surprise. I don't know how. So once I all of that surfaced, the other guy, I'll just call him Yura. A few weeks later, a few weeks passed, and I got an email from Aaron or his team, like an automated whatever, saying that we're holding a free workshop, like a mini course of his big course. And I thought, okay, maybe let's try that. So I signed up for that. And then when the course was like nearing, I was like, you know what, I still don't feel like this is the right thing for me, even though it will be interested to connect to his energy. Like, but in the course, I won't be connecting that much. Like, I don't know if it's worth my time. It's not like the type of course that I actually like to do. Like, I've done trainings before. So the day I was like already not sure whether I want to do his course, Yura messaged me after like 2-3 months passed already, saying that he's finally holding his first course, his training for, he does ice bath training, like the Wim Hof method, where you train to tolerate the cold, so dump yourself into ice. And I'm like, yeah, let's do that. So I chose, instead of a free course, one that I had to pay for. So I signed up to it very quickly. Like, this felt like this is the right thing. And I went to the course. So this was this Sunday. You know, I interacted with him, and his wife was there, people. So if there's any light workers watching this, you probably felt like since the quarantine started, like we've been extra isolated. Like, I've seen others comment in groups that like friends disappear, right? They're just like totally alone at this time. Like, I felt like extra isolation this entire quarantine. Like, I was in a bubble, not let out. And all it was just work on yourself. And like, I was guided down a narrow corridor, and there's no going to this, going anywhere. So this was like, it felt like I was being finally let out into the world. And when so this workshop was like in the area of Brooklyn that is like very, like where the Brooklyn Bridge is. So it's like almost Manhattan. And, you know, all the yuppies, all the, you know, guys in dresses, let's say. I saw one, but it was like, ooh, okay, that's where I am. And I felt like, I guess, like I've been barely around people, and I have like major social anxiety. It was like, where am I? What am I doing here? Oh God, I gotta adjust to the world now. I've been like barely part of the world. I've just gone on walks in suburbs, you know, with my dog, and just, you know, with neighbors, and going on errands briefly, like once a month or something. And then over a year later, it's like, go. Like, oh my God. But anyway, everything went really well. You know, like the energy between him and me shifted, I noticed, because when we were messaging, like we were both on the defensive, we were both uncomfortable with this. And when I was there, it was like really friendly, really connecting, you know, that energy is connecting, and like has nothing to do with sexual anything. It was like that energy is finally flowing freely. it wasn't 100%. And we kind of agreed because I wanted to do like other trainings with him. Like I need to have a one-on-one with him. And that's why I'm making this video, because like there's stuff that I want to share. I want to share with him what I shared in this video. That like just that like he needs to know for his karmic development path. Isn't, it's like, it's fitting, like this is like what karma is, right? He contributed to my aquaphobia, and now he is helping me heal from that aquaphobia. And I mean, that's karma for you, right? It's going from one end to the other. It's the dualities of karma, where you learn the different sides of things. So that's where I am. And let's see, I think, when I spoke to him before the workshop, saying that I'm only available Sundays, I only have a car Sundays because we live in different boroughs. He was kind of like, no, I'm not available Sundays. I have kids, I'm not available. But then he scheduled this workshop on a Sunday. And then when I was speaking to him there, and I said, well, I'm still interested. He teaches yoga, and like, I'm interested in inversions right now. And he's like, we'll make it work. So like now he's, again, the energy is flowing now. So we'll see what happens. It's so funny. Like, I forgot my thermos there at the workshop, and like I sense like that was not like the higher self did that on purpose to me. So then he would message me so that we have another, like, because he's like, hey, did you forget your thermos? So that, better my heart. So we could have like another interaction, like a friendly kind of, he, during the workshop, this was my first time doing any kind of ice work, cold exposure, my first time ever. And I went twice, and I had pain in my ankles really bad. Like once I came out of the ice bath, I couldn't stand up. And it makes sense because I kind of thought about it after, like the past few weeks, I've been clearing a lot of energy from my legs. My legs have felt very heavy. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense now. And he was like really congratulating, saying, you did so good. Like, like a lot of people like cheering me on. Like I went in for it for the second time. To me, it's like, it's no big deal. I would have gone for third and fourth if we had time. But that kind of created a different dynamic, when I did it the second time. Like I gained respect or something. I didn't do it for that because it's my nature to like, like I wanted to see how else, like if my legs would feel different the second time, and then the third time, and then the fourth time. So like, it's not in my nature to like, to get scared. I'm here to ascend. I'm here to shed all my fears. So yeah, very interesting stuff, and I'll keep people updated if you're interested.